want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
There you have an emotional Selena Gomez over Donald Trump's immigration policies, especially as we're hearing more and more about the individuals who are being deported by ICE under Donald Trump. But there are some, including Democratic Alderman Raymond Lopez from Chicago, who argue the Trump administration is specifically targeting individuals who have been convicted of crimes and have been in the country illegally. In fact, take a listen to what he had to say.
They are stoking fear against the federal government because they want people to be afraid. They want people to be panicked, and they want to show desolate neighborhoods. When all Tom Homan has said is that he wants to focus on dangerous criminals so that they can come in and leave communities as quickly as possible. And it's truly a disservice to our residents to see the mayor and his allies whip people into hysteria simply for their own political benefit.
Now, again, that was a Democratic alderman in Chicago. His name is Raymond Lopez, and he's arguing, look, there's a lot of fear mongering going on and it's wrong. But is it true that Trump's administration is specifically targeting individuals who have committed other crimes in the country? Well, let's hear a little more from the alderman, and we'll get into more details about who's being deported.
I'm very thankful that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is being very transparent in who they are arresting, what the crimes that they were committing or accused of committing were, because I think it's important for people to see that they're not going into churches, schools, and hospitals to round up children or your grandparents, that they're actually going after very dangerous individuals. And I think that it's very difficult when you have the local fear-mongering machine in full effect, as we saw last week when Secret Service individuals went to a school and the Chicago Public Schools apparatus was quick to blame ICE as trying to raid the building. You know, you need to be transparent and you need to be clear about what's going on.
So he highlighted that story that broke last Friday where the school officials in an elementary school in Chicago claimed that ICE had showed up. They were planning on deporting someone. Turns out that it was actually Secret Service that showed up to the school in order to investigate someone who had made a specific threat to a specific government official. They never entered the school, and in fact, they spoke to and identified themselves to the principal, who later did a press conference and made it seem like ICE showed up to do a raid. That was not the case. And that does instill fear in people, especially in Chicago. So it's important to be accurate about what's really going on. But Selena Gomez has since taken that video down after posting it on social media. I don't know if it's because she realized that she was wrong or if she was getting so much backlash that she just wanted to take herself out of the conversation. But I've got more details on who's being deported in just a moment. Cenk, I want to get your thoughts first.
Yeah, so two things on this. One is the policy and the substance, and the other is the politics and the strategy, right? So on the substance here, these are not raids. Those will probably come later, but that's not what this is. So they're going to pick up specific undocumented immigrants who were convicted felons. Now, that doesn't mean that they only got convicted felons. So my issue here is that they're picking up people that they're calling collaterals that are also undocumented immigrants but did not commit a crime. I'm never in favor of collateral damage, so I don't think that's the right way to go. But they're not gonna listen to me, and they won the election, so they're gonna keep on doing this. So in terms of when to start crying like Selena Gomez, save it for the mass deportations when we have to rally the whole American people to our side to prevent it. But when you do it, when they're picking up convicted felons, you're gonna lose the American people. So don't do that. As Anna's about to tell you, we're already losing them. I don't wanna lose them anymore before we get to the actual problem.
No, we lost them. I wanna be very clear that when I was talking about Venezuelan gang members, that was specifically meant to make a point about how the Democratic Party, which was in charge at the time, needed to do something about that. Otherwise, Americans are gonna be ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And that's exactly what's happening here. So in 2016, public opinion polls showed that only 36% of Americans favored mass deportation, only 36%. Fast forward to today, let's look at the numbers. Well, New York Times came out with a poll, 56% of Americans in favor of mass deportations. Oh, well, that must be an outlier, right? Outlier poll, how could the number increase so much? Marquette, 64% of Americans in their poll indicated that they favor mass deportation. CBS News, 57%, ABC News, 56%. We have lost them already because when you're unwilling to make a distinction between people who are here illegally, who are committing crimes, who are running amok, with those who might be in the country illegally, but they've been here for a while, they're productive members of society and they're not hurting anyone, well, all of a sudden, you're gonna have the majority of Americans think, well, Democrats aren't serious about keeping us safe, and now we don't trust them to deal with immigration. Now we want mass deportation.
Yeah, so there were Venezuelan gangs. They were among the first rounded up in Denver. Now everybody admits that there were gangs, and they did take over apartment buildings. They never took over a city, and nobody other than some, I guess Trump might have said they took over the city, but that was outrageous and ridiculous. No one serious said that. So, but when you chose to fight on those grounds, you did great damage to our cause. Now mass deportation is more popular because people think that it might, we might be talking about those criminals. And so if we were recent, by the way, and then everybody always changes the goalposts. So now I see people saying, oh, no one thought.
No one denied that there were Venezuelan gang members. No one denied that they were there.
No one denied that they took over apartments, at least.
That's exactly what they said.
That's
exactly what they said.
And no one denied that they should be deported. That's not true. People are denying it right now, right? Let alone earlier.
It's insane.
So, guys, we've got to win them back. You have to, when you're losing the country, you lose, and roughly here, about 57% of Americans saying we want to deport all the undocumented immigrants. You've got to be able to stop that, and the way you stop that is winning the argument, winning back people on moral grounds, intellectual grounds, and by being right and not choosing to defend insane radical positions, right? So look, once they move on to the raids of just undocumented immigrants, they're gonna start ripping families out of their neighborhoods, out of their houses, out of their churches, etc. If they go in that direction, my guess is and my hope is, once people see it with their own eyes, it'll be really unpopular. That's the ground to fight on.
Right. So let's get to some more details. So Tom Homan in multiple interviews made it clear that they are specifically targeting individuals who have committed crimes. He says, my goal is to arrest as many public safety and national security threats as possible and move on to the other priorities. We're prioritizing criminal aliens. Now, ICE announced enhanced targeted operations in multiple cities. And you might notice a trend with the cities I'm about to list: Chicago, Atlanta, Puerto Rico, Colorado, Los Angeles, and Austin, Texas. Now, many of the cities that I listed happen to be sanctuary cities, and that's relevant because I think they're targeting these sanctuary cities to make a point about how if local authorities don't work with us, collaborate with us to help us deport individuals who have committed crimes, well, then we're gonna have issues with the collateral deportations. Individuals who haven't committed any other crime other than being in the country illegally, but since they are in the company of other migrants who have committed crimes, well, if they're in the same room, if they're in the same company, we're just gonna deport everyone, right, in that room. So according to ICE, let's go to this graphic. Nationwide, 956 people were arrested and 554 detainers were lodged Sunday, marking the highest total since the agency started deporting them on the platform. So far, overall, there have been 2,500 roughly deportations. And there were criminals detained in these operations. The DEA carried out a raid in Adams County, Colorado on Sunday morning that targeted a drug trafficking operation. 50 undocumented individuals were arrested according to the DEA's Rocky Mountain Division. Here's what they said. In a post on X, the DEA announced that drugs, weapons, and cash were seized in the raid at what the DEA called a makeshift nightclub. They also claimed that dozens connected to the Tren de Aragua gang were there. Of the roughly 50 people taken into custody, the DEA said many have TDA affiliations. Others who have been arrested by ICE include a guy by the name of Jose Barco Chirnino, who's a Venezuelan national. He was taken into custody at Colorado's state prison in Cannon City. So what they're doing is they're also going to the prisons as these individuals are finishing up their sentences to deport them as soon as their sentence is over.
By the way, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. But you can only do that if local authorities are willing to cooperate. If it's a sanctuary city, they're less likely to be willing to do that.
Right, but a lot of the blue states are now saying, look, we're not gonna cooperate with you if you're coming in to grab these folks off the streets. But if you are going to pick them up from the prison once they're released, we will let you do that.
And that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be absurd to have the federal government come in to deport the people, but the local prison won't tell you when they're coming out. I mean, that would be yeah. So by the way, that's good. That blue states are doing the right thing there, saying yeah, for sure. When they get out, we'll tell you, and you can come get them, so that it's not you're not raiding churches or schools or homes, etc.
So that guy. Chirino apparently had been convicted, not just charged, convicted of attempted murder, extreme indifference, and felony menacing with a real or simulated weapon. Then you have another individual, a Mexican national, who was convicted of sexual abuse of a minor. He was arrested by ICE in Seattle. In Miami, ICE arrested 6 undocumented immigrants from Guatemala who had been convicted of battery, child abuse, fraud, resisting arrest, DWI, trespassing, and vandalism. Please explain to me why we would want to keep these people in the country. Explain it to me. Anyone who wants to make the case, I'm super curious what the argument is. But my favorite guy is this individual who has 17 criminal convictions in the United States. Take a look at what he had to say.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Not good. That's not a good look for Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do more damage to Biden and Obama if you tried.
And Obama actually, I mean, he's still known as the deporter in chief. Still, even compared to Donald Trump, Obama did far more deportations.
I mean, if that moron thought he was helping the Democrats, I mean, it's almost like he's a Republican plant. You've got a massive criminal saying how much he loves Biden and Obama. God, so anyways, guys, don't at the same time, don't be too distracted by one rando, okay? So most of these folks don't give a damn about politics. All they care about is if they're in gangs or they're criminals carrying out those crimes for their own benefit, right? So overall though, as these folks are being rounded up, one, I don't like the guy who arrested who's up on gun charges because he hasn't been convicted yet. And not only that, I want him, if he did do it, I want him convicted and serving his time here. I don't want him to just be released and be free in whichever country he goes to. I want him to serve time for his, for
his crime,
for his crimes
100%,
here. Yep. The guy who is quote unquote collateral, that doesn't make any sense to me. I know that the Republicans want it. I know that they'll get it, but I don't like it. And again, like I said in the beginning, I don't like anyone who's collateral damage. But overall, the politics of this is that so far none of this is hurting Trump. This is probably helping Trump.
Yeah.
So don't fight on this hill.
His approval rating has increased since he got elected, actually. And the final thing that I'll note is, I just think it's so fascinating how the media frames deportations under Democratic leadership versus Republican leadership, right? Because the Trump administration so far has done about 2,500 deportations. But let's go to the graphic 5 here. In the last fiscal year, meaning when Biden was still in charge, ICE's enforcement and removal operations conducted 113,431 administrative arrests, according to an agency report, amounting to about 310 arrests a day across all field offices. I didn't see Selena Gomez crying about that because Selena Gomez didn't know about that, okay? Because the media didn't make a big deal about it. But when it's Trump, they make a huge deal about it.
Yeah, and it's weird in both directions, right? Because people think that Biden did nothing in getting convicted felons deported when he actually did a lot.
I mean, in the last year after it became a huge political liability.
But
yes.
nevertheless, so right now, the story was that Trump's ICE has a quota of 75 people deported a day. Well, that's 310 people a day. That wasn't a quota, they were actually doing it. They already did it, right? So on the one hand, the media is bad in that they make it seem like Trump is pure evil for doing this, and they don't even mention that Biden did it. On the other hand, that actually hurts Biden, because Biden did deport these people, and the press never really never reported on it, so it made it seem like he did nothing. So not helpful in either direction. How about this? How about we are consistent for all politicians?
That'd be great.
And just honest to our viewers and our readers. Can I ask for that from mainstream media? Apparently a little bit too much to ask for. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.